Mulan 1998. The flower that blooms in adversity is the rarest and most beautiful of all. Mulan 1998 is a Disney animated film inspired by the ancient Chinese legend, The Ballad of Mulan, which tells the story of a young woman named Mulan, who disguises herself as a man to join the army in place of her elderly father, who was drafted during the Han Dynasty. Mulan is celebrated for her bravery in battle, and ultimately, she succeeds in protecting the country and her family. The animation was released in 1998 and became highly popular both in terms of its content and artistic creation. Although Disney altered some aspects of the original story to suit global audience expectations, the central theme of fighting for equality and proving one's worth remains at the heart of the story. The Disney version of Mulan is reinterpreted as a powerful and courageous character who overcomes the gender roles imposed by ancient Chinese society. Additionally, songs from the film, such as Reflection and I'll Make a Man Out of You, became hits, reflecting the themes of self-discovery and proving one's worth in a world with high expectations. Mulan, 1998, reflects the societal pressures that women face. At the beginning of the story, Mulan is expected to adhere to the norms of ancient Chinese society, which dictate that women must be gentle, obedient, and marry to honor their families. She is judged by her appearance and behavior rather than her abilities and true identity, showing that if women do not conform to social standards, they may be seen as insufficient or unsuitable. When Mulan decides to disguise herself as a man to go to war, she must change both her appearance and behavior to meet the standards of men. This reflects a society that values masculinity over femininity and forces women to change in order to gain acceptance. This idea is not limited to the past but continues in the modern world, where women in certain professions must adapt in order to be accepted in male-dominated environments. However, the turning point in the story comes when Mulan chooses to reveal her true identity and prove that her worth is not determined by gender, but by her intelligence, courage, and individuality. In the end, she is accepted by everyone as Mulan, not because she is male or female, but because of her abilities. This reflects the struggle of women throughout history to prove themselves and shows that a woman's identity should not be limited by her outer shell, but should be recognized for her true inner self. In the context of ancient China, the phoenix is a symbol of beauty and gentleness, reflecting the role women were expected to play as homemakers, good wives, and obedient to their husbands. In Mulan, 1998, this idea is clearly depicted in the scene where Mulan meets the matchmaker, reinforcing the value placed on women based on marriage and maintaining the honor of the family rather than their personal abilities. In contrast, the dragon is a symbol of power and influence, reserved for men. Men in ancient Chinese society were leaders both in the family and society, while women who attempted to transcend these roles were often seen as unsuitable. Mulan defies this convention by disguising herself as a man and joining the army. Despite facing opposition, she proves that ability and intelligence are not limited to men. Although Mulan proves herself at the end of the story, she chooses to return home instead of accepting a noble position. This may reflect that Chinese society at the time was not ready to accept women in the realm of the dragon, or it may suggest that Mulan chose to define success on her own terms. In the end, she shows that the phoenix does not need to be superior to the dragon, but can soar freely if given the opportunity and courage. The song I'll Make a Man Out of You in Mulan, 1998, reflects the concept of masculinity as constructed by the state, which refers to the societal standards of strength, discipline, and endurance that men are expected to adhere to, especially in the context of war. General Shang represents the ideal masculinity that the army seeks to cultivate, emphasizing that being a real man requires enduring harsh tests, illustrating that masculinity is not biological but socially and politically constructed. However, Mulan challenges this definition. She starts as the weakest soldier, but proves that combat ability is not determined by gender. She uses intelligence and effort rather than relying solely on physical strength. This shows that the state's version of masculinity is not the only way to be a strong warrior. Mulan's success demonstrates that the concept of masculinity enforced by the state may not always be necessary for victory. At the end of the story, Mulan is accepted by the emperor and the people, even though she is not a man. This deconstructs the traditional ideas of masculinity and leadership, suggesting that courage and intelligence are more important than adhering to the standards set by the state. Mulan is therefore not only a story of a female hero, but also a critique of a system that forces masculinity to become a condition for being a warrior and leader. Mulan, 1998, presents the concepts of Wu, physical strength, and Wen, intelligence, through the process of military training and warfare. Wu represents strength, discipline, and physical skills, which are key factors for the Chinese army. The song, "I'll Make a Man Out of You," reinforces the belief that a true warrior must possess physical strength and courage. However, relying solely on physical power does not guarantee victory. Wu, or intelligence, is what Mulan uses to turn the tide of war. She overcomes physical limitations with resourcefulness, such as using cloth to climb a pole to grab an arrow, or luring the enemy into a snow avalanche. Particularly in the final scene, she defeats Shan Yu with strategy rather than just brute strength. This shows that clever planning can change the outcome of a battle. Ultimately, Mulan 1998 emphasizes that true victory requires both Wu and Wen together. An army that is strong but lacks strategy will be defeated, just as a smart warrior without combat skills will not survive. This concept aligns with the principles of Sun Tzu's The Art of War, which states, "The best strategy is to win without fighting," reflecting that both strength and intelligence are keys to success, both on the battlefield and in real life.